Hey everyone, Tim Schofield here, and behind me I have some of the best budget phones from 2018. So I'd like to go ahead and take a look at them, do some comparisons with them. However, I want to do it from an unboxing perspective. So I'm going to unbox all of these because when you buy a budget phone, you want to see who gives you the most accessories. It's not just about what the phone gives you. Maybe you want a case with it, maybe you want headphones with it. So we'll see what comes in the box as well, and then compare all the devices. Let's go ahead and get started. Here are all the boxes. You'll notice Nokia went with just a bit of a different form factor. Also, drop a comment. Let me know which budget phone you think is best. I'm even gonna give an honorable mention as well in this video. But to begin, let's open up the Motorola Moto G6. The Moto G6 has a couple different models, 32 gigs of internal storage with 3 gigs of RAM, or 64 gigs of internal storage with 4 gigs of RAM. I do recommend the 4 gig model just to kind of make it a little more future-proof. But on Amazon, there's also a Prime exclusive deal, so it will have some Amazon apps pre-installed and you can save some money with that. So the 4 gigabyte 64 gig storage model is actually $230 on Amazon right now. So here it is. I'm actually going to set this to the side. We'll take a look at the phones in just a second, but I'd like to see what comes in the box with the Moto G6, the README, SIM ejection tool. You do have a turbo powered charging, and then you do have your USB Type A to USB Type C charging cable, and that is it. So that's it for the G6. The next budget device is the Nokia 7.1, and I think you're gonna start seeing a lot more of Nokia in terms of Android phones. Now this is an Android One phone as well, so sliding this box out, you do have the phone right here. Again, I will get to that in just a second. We're gonna set that to the side. SIM ejection tool, as expected. You do have a getting started guide, standard booklets. Now let's see what's in here, see if we get any extra goodies. The Nokia 7.1 is $350. I will link to all these phones down below just to kind of give you an idea of a price comparison. So inside the AC adapter, of course, you get your charging cable, USB-A to USB Type-C, and with the Nokia 7.1, you get an extra right here. And these are some headphones, seem pretty standard. I doubt you're gonna get any crazy sound quality out of them, but it is nice that they do include them. And of course, 3.5 millimeter headphone jack because the phone has that. The next phone I'd like to talk about is actually at a little bit of a higher price point, $380, which is why I'm going to give an honorable mention to the Honor 8X as well. Definitely check that out. I'll link to it down below. But the Honor View 10, you do get a good amount of phone at that $380 price point. So here's the phone itself. Again, setting it to the side. Let's see what actually comes in the box. So we have our SIM ejection tool. And then, of course, inside we have some goodies, including a case. So nice that they do have a case for the phone. Again, always nice to see extras, especially at phones that are not flagships. And then you do have the Huawei Supercharge, and you have USB Type A to USB Type C charging cable. So this one's extra is actually the case. And finally, let's check out the Pocophone F1 by Xiaomi. This is one that you may not have heard of. However, it goes for $325 right now, and you get a crazy amount for that price. Now, I will talk about that in just a second, but let's do the unboxing. So first of all, looks like we just have booklets up at the top. We will see what's inside here. Now inside, not only do you get booklets, but you get a case. Another nice added goodie inside here. We do have the phone itself. Of course, get to that in just a second. And then inside you also have your charger. This does come with an adapter, I noticed. In the packaging, you did have a very simple adapter that came with it, so you can charge it if you're in the US. And then, of course, you do have your USB-A to USB-C cable. So this extra was a case. Here are both the phones with their respective cases on. Feel very similar. They cover up all the buttons. The cutouts look just fine. So pretty much the exact same case in terms of style, feel, and probably how well they will protect the phone. As a side note, the Honor View 10 has a pre-installed screen protector on it. As you can tell, I will leave that on for now. And here they all are, the top budget phones from this year. Drop a comment, let me know which one you think you're going to like the best. So what makes the Moto G6 so great? Of course, that price point. This is the lowest priced phone out of any of the phones I'm showing You do get a 1080p display. You get a dual camera. It does have a Snapdragon 450, so in terms of performance, don't expect a crazy amount. I would just say mediocre performance. Also, if I jump into settings, go to About Phone, it is only on Android 8.0, which is not the latest. Android 9.0 is the latest, unfortunately. You also have a headphone jack down at the bottom, and this phone in general is very premium quality feeling. A solid build if you do like the glass back phones. Now the front of it, it does have a good amount of bezels. Of course, you do have that fingerprint scanner on the front of the phone, which adds to the chin, but overall they have not decided to go with any of that, full screen view with little bezels. Loading up that camera app, it is overall fairly slow in terms of just the viewfinder being a little slow, and snapping pictures can be a little bit delayed at times. And of course, out of all of these phones, I would say this phone produces probably the worst images. Doesn't make them bad. I would just say the images produced are mediocre. I'll compare some images at the end of this video. The Honor View 10 is also a premium feeling phone. However, this one has a metal back. They still decided to go with that front fingerprint scanner, which I'm okay with. I would rather have it on the back and just have more minimal bezels, but of course it's nice with the phone sitting on the desk. This phone also feels very thin. However, it does have a 3,750 milliamp hour battery, which is fairly large. Battery life is very good on this phone. Also, down at the bottom, you do get a headphone jack. It's funny how these budget phones still are sticking with the headphone jack. You do have the Kirin 970 processor from Huawei, which is a very good performer overall, also in terms of conserving battery life. So I would not worry at all about any of the high-end games, anything like that. It does a good job with the 970. You do have a 1080p 6-inch display, so a little bit of a larger form factor, which of course some people actually like. Now, if I do want to jump into settings, About Phone, it is on Android 8.1, which is a bit of a bummer. It does have the EMUI scheme, which does add some useful features, but it not being on Android 9 is a bit of a bummer. And I'm going to say that about every phone from here on out. The dual camera overall is a solid performer. Snappy, quick. It does have an aperture mode, so if you do have something in front of it, you can control how blurry the background actually is, which is always nice for taking pictures. If I do swipe over in the viewfinder, you will see it has a Pro mode too. And finally, my top two favorite budget phones, and that's the Nokia 7.1 and the Pocophone. And what it comes down to, especially with the Pocophone is crazy what you get for the money. It has a Snapdragon 845 from Qualcomm, which is the processor that is in the latest flagships. Yes, you heard that right, the latest flagships. So performance on this phone is fantastic. You do not have to worry about it being slow, playing any high-end games, because of course it has the latest processor. However, if you are in the US, it does have GSM bands. However, the LTE bands are very limited. So even on T-Mobile, AT&T, it will struggle a bit. So if you're outside the US, this is the easy choice for the best budget phone of 2018. Comparing the designs of these two, you have glass back versus metal back. Now the fingerprint scanner placement, I prefer it on the Pocophone. That's just because it is a little bit of a larger phone and my finger rests directly on that fingerprint scanner, whereas with the Nokia, it is just slightly higher. Not that big of a deal, but nice they do have back-facing fingerprint scanners. Looking at it from the front side, you will notice the Pocophone's notch is definitely bigger. However, it does have an infrared sensor on it, which helps with face unlock security and accuracy. And then down at the bottom, you'll see the Nokia has a little bit of a bigger chin. The 7.1 does have a Snapdragon 636, which by no means is bad. It still will handle everything you throw at it, but just don't expect as good of a performance than the Pocophone will get. Both of these phones also have Android 9 Pie, which is awesome to see in any budget phone, it being on the latest OS. Of course, the Nokia being an Android 1 phone, so you expect it to have better updates. And of course, shout out to Xiaomi for keeping this phone updated as well. And here are both the camera apps on the phones. Overall, I will compare just a few pictures real quick out of all of the phones I'm showing off, just so you can kind of compare yourself. But overall, I've been happy with both of these phones' cameras, especially considering price. Pocophone also has much more of a skin with the MIUI skin, whereas this phone is way more bare bones Android, pretty much just stock Android on the Nokia. The budget phones that overall this year are very, very competitive. Drop a comment, let me know which one is your favorite. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of the pictures taken. I will note which phone is which, just cycling through some of the pictures. Overall, I would say the Pocophones is the best camera, just in general. But of course, this is where flagships stand apart in that camera quality. I'd like to give a quick shout out to a couple more phones, the OnePlus 6 and 6T. It is a mid-range phone, higher price than all of these phones, but still want to give a shout out to it for the amount of value you get for the price you pay. Also, the iPhone XR as well, because if you are stuck on getting an iPhone, you only have one budget option, and that's the iPhone XR. I guess you could get the SE, but this is the latest budget phone from Apple. However, still very expensive, don't get me wrong, especially in comparison to all of these phones. But shout out because, of course, there's really no competition in terms of the Apple ecosystem. And to wrap everything up, of course, you have a ton of options with Android in the budget phone space. Now, I will give the winner to Pocophone. However, you do have to keep in mind those LTE bands if you're in the USA. As things progress, I believe these budget phones are going to be getting better and better and closing the gap between budget phones and flagships. However, the one thing that will, I believe, always keep it apart is that camera quality. So that's the biggest thing that you sacrifice when you pay less money for a phone. I will link to all of these phones down below if you're looking for more information on each of them. And hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe as well. A lot more content coming soon. As always, guys, thank you very much for watching.